You have people on how many realtors are out there, how many financial advisors, right? It's all basically the same thing. But I think if you start with what they're passionate about, if you want to differentiate yourself in the market, start with what they're passionate about. And see they act on that too. So
that could really help distill people's why as well.
Mm-hmm.
What fires you up? What gets you up in the morning? And if you don't know, spend some time thinking about it. So clarity, commitment, community. I like the way you laid that out. It starts within and then it goes to the without. Do you think maybe we've got that inverted as a culture, as a society these days? We're looking externally for motivation too often. And if so, how do we fix that?
Well, I think that's a epidemic or pandemic in itself, the whole mental thing.
Yeah.
Because
looking for others to save you.
Well, especially with the digital and social media world these days, I think that has a big contributing factor to why people are anxious, because there's a lot of self-comparison to people who have already achieved success. Yeah. And now they're like blowing it up on social media. This is how I made $1 million and blah, 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 blah. And I mean, it's great, man. I want to get there eventually too, but that's being attached to the outcome.
Right.
So that's what they want to do. And they wonder why they can't get to the next level, because they're focused on the outcome. They're not focused on, okay, why this is important to me.
That speaks to your Europe thing. Like the outcome was going to Europe. That was going to be your bow on the present or whatever. And you were missing the process.
Mm-hmm.
That's brilliant insight, is that the people are looking to the, whatever the checkpoint is. If we're using a video game reference, you pass the checkpoint and then if you die, you reset to that checkpoint. Like we're always looking at the next achievement rather than like playing the game and enjoying what's going on in the process. And those are things that are often not quantifiable. Me doing this podcast with you, I don't know that it necessarily quote unquote achieves anything. It's just enjoyable because I get to learn and I get to, share what you have with whatever audience I have. And that's cool for me. But if I'm like, I have to do so many podcasts in order to blah, 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 then I miss the point of just being here present with you, enjoying your story and your testimony. And that's, I think, probably another exhortation for the listening audience, is that if you're hearing this and your life is full of checkpoints, maybe take a step back and ask yourself what you're doing to get those and what's more important along the way, rather than just the line of demarcation where you get to say, I have arrived. Because as soon as you arrive somewhere, there's another arrival point right beyond that that you want to go seek anyway. And that could breed anxiety for sure.
Yep. Yeah, well, it's important, like, once you get to the destination, to enjoy it. If you get to the top of the mountain, well, Everest is a different thing, because you'll die if you go too long oxygen deprived.
That's true, yeah.
But I think it's really important to, when you get to your destination, it's really, what did I learn through the process I'm getting here?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then, because those are the lessons that eventually become universal.
How did I grow as a person? And then from that growth, what do I contribute to other people? How do I lift others up?
Yeah.
And you're doing that now. You didn't just overcome cancer, brain cancer nonetheless, which is just crazy to me. But now you're helping others to do the same thing, to find the same success, to find the same joy and motivation. I think that's really wonderful. And that's who knows how far the ripple effect goes. Those people touch other people and so on and so forth. And before you know it, you've lit a whole world on fire. And it's really cool. It's very special. And it flies in the face of all the negativity that we keep hearing elsewhere. If we focus on what we're doing, then we don't have any time to get sucked into what other people are trying to do or say or distract from our mission. And I think it's really, really special. I want to be, I want to honor your time. We've gone over an hour here, and I know we both have stuff to do, but I want to thank you. And something I've taken to doing lately on these podcasts is I asked the guests what's one thing they want to leave with the listening audience, and feel free to wrap up. I mean, I'm just like pointing us toward the end here, but before we sign off, I want to make sure that you get an opportunity to say, hey, if there's one thing I could leave with you guys, it's this, and then give that direction or that inspiration or that exhortation.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that, because that actually dovetails very nicely into my message for my 20th year remission date on July 20th this year. So I wanted to think of something that's easy to remember, that was relevant to the mission of the foundation, and, something that's true, near and dear to my heart. And it's super simple. Celebrate your milestones, because we all go through difficult times. But every once in a while, it's important to reflect on our journeys to truly appreciate how far we've come.
There are a lot of them. Like we have a lot of milestones in our lives, I think. And if you're in a constant state of celebration of those achievements, then your eyeballs are always going to be elevated toward the joyful. I think people tend to overlook that. Has that been your experience? Do people overlook their milestones? Do they have to be reminded of how many we really have?
I don't think you need to be reminded of them, but I think it's important to live in a state of gratitude, because the fact that we're here right now, living and breathing, and we have an opportunity to create something, to create the life that we want, the life we imagine every single day and every single moment. But I think it is important to reflect, not all the time, but because I do it every 5 years, because 5 years for me was, okay, 5 years remission, you're cured of cancer. So I kind of break down myself. What's the next 5 years look like for me? When I'm, after this year, so 2025, what does that look like for me? So I'm in a transition right now. Whether I jump on board with a company on corporate again that has an amazing company culture, that's something that I would jump on. Or if I just continue to keep on building my own thing, that's fine as well. But I am in a transition right now. So I'm either going to go deeper in this full-time speaking and, consulting and coaching. I'm leaving it open to possibilities. I'm not attached to the outcome.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. And thanks for leaving everybody with the celebrate your milestones. I think we all need that front and center, because there's a lot of lamentation. I don't know that there's a lot of celebration going on, at least not on social media, which is why I got off social media. Tell everybody where they can find you, and obviously myhometownheroes.org, but what are some other ways that people can reach out and connect and offer their support?
Yeah. So right now we have a campaign for the foundation called Heroes Night In. On a local basis, it's a $40 donation. You get a passport that gives you these incredible discounts to other restaurants and pubs. And that donation goes towards our scholarship pool to award for the spring of next year. There's also a VIP for $100 donation. You get a wine tumbler and a bottle of wine with it from Engine 8 Urban Winery. But if you want to find me personally, learn more about my story, like speaking demos, go to DannyHeinsohn.com, and you can see the various topics I keynote on, the other things I coach on in terms of business development and sales. You can find some good information there. And
we will spell your name correctly on the show notes.
Okay,
Heinsohn for those of you recording at home. But thanks, man. I'm glad we reconnected, and I think you've been a blessing to a lot of people. I know you've been a blessing to a lot of people. I think you've been a blessing to a lot of people in this audience, though. And I just looked at the calendar. If you notice, I was looking at my phone. We drop our podcast typically on Mondays, and the 20th happens to be a Monday. So I think it would be highly appropriate if we launched this podcast on Monday, July 20th, which would celebrate your 20-year cancer-free anniversary.
I love it, man. I appreciate that. And then I just had, while we're on the topic, I just had an article published in Conquer, the Patient's Voice magazine. It's a national publication.
Nice.
That's available online, so I could send you the link to that article as well.
Yes, please do. We'll put that in the show notes as well. All right. Well, thank you to everybody for listening along on behalf of the Noggin Notes team and the Zephyr Wellness family. And thanks for showing up, Danny. Appreciate it. We all wish you great mental wellness. Take care.